This is New York State Senator Kevin Parker. He was instrumental in passing what's known as the Adult Survivors Act in New York State. Here's a quick refresher on what the Adult Survivors Act is.
The Adult Survivors Act lets victims, adult victims that is, sue over attacks that occurred even decades ago. A former Penthouse magazine model sued Axl Rose yesterday, claiming the Guns N' Roses singer in 1989. Rose's attorney denied the claims. In two lawsuits filed yesterday, two women accused actor Cuba Gooding Jr. of groping them in 2018 and 2019. Another lawsuit filed this week accuses actor Jamie Foxx of sexual assault in an incident in 2015. More than 2,500 lawsuits have been filed under the temporary law this past year, including against former President Donald Trump, Sean Diddy Combs, and actor Russell Brand. Trump, Combs, and Brand have all denied the allegations.
Now, this law was passed in response to the Me Too movement, but more specifically, E. Jean Carroll's claims against former President Donald Trump. See, E. Jean Carroll claimed that Trump assaulted her some 30 years ago, and the statute of limitations ran out, but New York wanted to help E. Jean Carroll out, so it extended the time frame in which she can sue by 1 year. So E. Jean Carroll took her lawsuit to court and won in a New York court.
We begin today's show looking more at how a New York jury has found former President Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing and defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll at the Bergdorf Goodman department store in the 1990s. After just 3 hours of deliberations, the jury ordered Trump to pay Carroll $5 million.
So the Democrats in New York thought all was right in the world. They got Trump and got him to pay E. Jean Carroll millions of dollars. But those same politicians had their own issues, like Mayor Adams being accused of assault.
Sexual assault allegations against Mayor Eric Adams by a former police colleague.
She did file a lawsuit today, and we want to warn you, the details are graphic.
So now as Democrats started getting sued too, the law started getting out of control. Now this brings us to New York State Senator Kevin Parker. Now, Senator Parker has a checkered past. For instance, in 2009, he was convicted of misdemeanor assault on a New York Post reporter. In that case, the reporter's finger was broken when Parker grabbed the camera from the person's hand. Now, for that misdemeanor assault, he received 3 years probation and $1,000 fine and had to pay restitution to his victim. Now, the reason why we're talking about Kevin Parker is because he was one of the biggest proponents for the Adult Survivors Act. But now a woman is using it to accuse him of sexual assault.
A new lawsuit was filed under the Adult Survivors Act, which lifted the statute of limitations for 1 year to allow victims of sexual abuse to file suit, regardless of when the abuse occurred.
I'm glad I could sign the Adult Survivor Act that created the window for so many people who have cases like this to be able to come forward. So we made that happen.
In 2004, a 31-year-old woman named Olga Jean-Baptiste was helping Brooklyn State Senator Kevin Parker arrange relief for flood victims in Haiti. She now says after she returned from her trip there, Parker visited her apartment to pick up some photos and discuss the trip. According to a lawsuit filed Friday, she then stood up to say goodbye when Senator Parker held on to both of her wrists with his hands. Plaintiff was frozen in fear and was unable to cry out. Senator Parker then took plaintiff down the hallway of her apartment to her bedroom, made a sexual comment, and put her face down on the bed, then her. Governor Hochul called the allegations deeply disturbing.
It is shocking, absolutely shocking, and that's all I'll say. It's shocking.
So now that Kevin Parker has been accused of sexual assault, he now has a change of heart on the Adult Survivors Act. He's now claiming that the law he supported and voted for is unconstitutional. Now, you have to laugh at the hypocrisy here because as long as it was hitting Trump and everyone else, it was okay. But now that it's hitting him and he voted for it, it's not constitutional. The rules for thee, but not for me. In a statement, he wrote, "I voted in favor of the Adult Survivors Act to ensure all New Yorkers can seek justice and be heard. These allegations are absolutely untrue. My work in advocacy will continue," Parker said. So now this brings up an interesting question. What happens if Parker wins in court and the court finds this law to be unconstitutional? Really think about all the high-profile cases that would go down if this state senator gets to overturn this law. For instance, remember P. Diddy's bombshell allegations? The ones that he settled? Does he get that money back?
And right now we're following breaking news tonight and what appears to be a huge development in the lawsuit involving Sean Combs. Moments ago, word coming out that Combs and R&B singer Cassandra Ventura have settled the lawsuit. Both sides releasing statements moments ago saying they agreed to resolve the matter amicably. The settlement comes one day after word of the lawsuit was filed where she accused him of sexual assault. She claims while the two were dating, Combs her and forced her to have sex with male prostitutes.
And what about Donald Trump's lawsuits with E. Jean Carroll? They were all predicated on this law that now the state senator who voted for it and supported it says is unconstitutional. Now, politicians may have had good intentions in passing the Adult Survivors Act, but it essentially removes any plausible defense from these allegations. As an example, let's take the E. Jean Carroll versus Trump case. This is an assault that allegedly happened 30 years ago, and the only two people who were witness to the assault were Trump and Carroll. She said it happened, he says it didn't. The only evidence that this actually occurred was E. Jean Carroll's own testimony. There was actually nothing else. The evidence in that case can be summed up like this. I don't know when it happened. I don't know what day it happened. I don't really even know what year it happened in. I just know it happened in this department store, and he was the one that did it to me, and it occurred over 30 years ago. There's no physical evidence. There's no supporting witnesses. There's no video. There's absolutely nothing. But you could trust my word over his. Now, I need you to try to think about how hard it would be to defend allegations like that. You don't even have to make it 30 years ago. Let's just make it 5 or even 10 years ago. You don't know what day, you don't know what time, you just know it happened to be in this general area and someone's saying that you assaulted them. And at this point in time, you're saying no isn't enough because Trump said he didn't do it. He didn't even recognize who this was, but yet the jury found him liable for a sexual assault. And this is a double-edged sword with sexual abuse allegations. Generally, sexual abuse claims occur when people are in intimate environments. It's just those two people. They don't generally happen in front of other people, in front of a camera. So generally, courts and juries rely on some type of physical evidence of harm or even sexual activity to even be able to make the claim stick. And this is why the statute of limitations was put in place anyway, because generally after a certain amount of time, that evidence goes stale anyway. Bodies heal and memories fade. See, in American law, it's always about a balance between the rights of the accused and the rights of the accuser. And in this day and age, we have a situation where accusations are enough to find people guilty and liable of these horrible things, even without evidence or proof. Now, there may be some out there who cheer the fact that this is occurring until they are the ones on the other side of the sword. And that's what's going on right now with this state senator in New York. He was cheering and praising the fact that these pure allegations with absolutely no proof can be brought forward and destroy people's lives. And now this state senator found out that it's almost impossible to prove that you didn't do something. That's why the law demands that the person who's accusing you provide evidence that you actually did it. And as a side note, this is why the Harvey Weinstein case was overturned in New York. Now, let me know how you feel about the Adult Survivors Act and this state senator who now says that the law that he said he wanted into place, that he was protecting victims, he now claims is unconstitutional because his victims are using that same law to sue him. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.